Oh, got it.
Okay, so we're going live. We did try to, well, we're going live on Zoom, which is being recorded. We did try to go live on Facebook, and the full moon is in beautiful full force today, and decided that it just wasn't going to happen. And so we tried StreamYard, and we tried a Facebook Messenger room, and I tried my usual live, and nothing was working. I tried from Zoom, and in the end, we've been trying for 25 minutes and we've given up. So we are recording this, and it's going to be posted later. So thank you so much, Jade, for saying yes to this. I bet you didn't know this is what you were in for.
Oh, it's been a pleasure so far. Making me feel a lot better about my technical difficulties. So
we've had some great laughter therapy anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Just finished a yoga class, and it was a beautiful yin yoga, and it was later than I thought it was going to be. I got the times a little bit muddled up, so I was feeling quite overwhelmed before I even jumped on. And the way I managed that was because I was doing something. I'd been out in nature already, and I had a swim in the ocean, and then I'd been to yoga, and so I could feel less overwhelmed, frustrated and a bit annoyed, because when you're promised to be somewhere and you're not, it's a bit frustrating. But just taking it in my stride. And what would I say to my clients or my friends or my daughters when something like that happens, and just taking that on board. So I just invited you in. I had a calling. Don't really know. We've met a few times, so I don't have a huge amount of background into your world. I just knew that I needed to talk to you, and I really wanted to talk about this topic, how we can get more clarity in our life and ditch the overwhelm. And you do loads of nature-based stuff, and so I know personally that just makes a massive difference in my life. So can you just share one thing that has helped you so much in not feeling so overwhelmed and stressed about life, how you can reduce stress? Big open question to start with, but I'll leave it with you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, this is what I'm all about, right? So it's all good. I'll start telling the story of my life, and that pretty much covers it. The nature, it's just, it is what I'm all about in the respect that it's just got so many different like positive effects on us, and a lot of people just aren't really that in tune with it or aware of the importance of nature. Like a lot of people just get so caught up in busy lifestyles and just the daily grind or whatever, the hustle and bustle, and we forget that it's so important to reconnect to nature, and just whether it be even just going out and looking at the sky or the stars or the moon or a tree or flowers, like it brings you back to having gratitude. And that's where I found a lot of my guidance when I sort of went through a rough time in life, and I was trying to sort of find what to do, where I'm at, and reground myself. And I just escaped to nature, and I was alone. And I recommend this for everyone. Just try and go and have an extended period of time in nature, be alone, and just roll with it. Like, just don't have any plans, disconnect from technology, which we need right now, maybe after this. And it makes you have a whole different perspective on life at times. Sometimes we do start to think that the troubles of life are getting the better of us, and it's literally, if you just can remove yourself from that, go out, have stillness, sit at the beach, listen to the waves. You look at the beauty in nature, and you bring your gratitude back to just that, like nothing else matters. It all just disappears when you can go, wow, like this is beautiful for me to actually be able to appreciate nature. It's just, it starts to change your whole perspective on life. And I started with my journey when I felt that connection with nature, after I went through a difficult time. I just started having a lot more detachment in my general life in a good way. Like, I didn't need anything to make me happy other than just stillness in nature. And the power of that, just, it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you know, it makes you sort of really look inward, and look at yourself and who you are, and the stillness and gratitude for nature. Just it really does help with like rewiring your brain, really. And that's just, it's such a like undervalued thing in society, and this is what I'm really trying to push out to the world, is how important this is through my new company, which is called Adventure in Nature.
What a beautiful name. Yeah, no, that was just perfect. And I was getting goosebumps, and I know I've got the right person when I get goosebumps nearly, well, every interview, I think. So, and I love that you talk about detachment, because I think we do become so attached. And I know with my clients, they come to me when they're just feel like they've tried everything and usually forgotten about nature a little bit in the process. It's like trying, I'll just get that next goal and that next goal, and I'm really not feeling happy, but I feel like I should be happy. Got everything. I live in this amazing Western world. We are so lucky, and then they're still feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, on the verge of burnout. Hopefully they come to me before burnout and we can prevent that. But the first thing really is just going back to nature. And you do a lot of stuff on the ocean, a lot of boat related things. And when you look at the ocean, every day it shows up in completely different ways, but it still shows up. So today is wild where we are, and completely wild. Seaweed everywhere. It was insane at the beach this morning.
I know, I'm impressed.
How our brains can be. Yeah, it did.
Very impressive, very impressive. So you're trying the Wim Hof technique?
Yeah, I've been doing Wim Hof. I attended one of his workshops in 2018.
Wow.
And he's very much about nature, but about cold exposure. And I've been doing his breathing on and off, but a regular process for about 5 months now, every morning after meditation. So it wasn't that cold in the water today. I think it was too turbulent it just warmed it all up. So
oh gosh, that's very, very brave. It's impressive. But the one thing for me, it's I do my breath work and the Wim Hof stuff, but it's that cold. I'm so used to wearing a wetsuit. It's like that chill factor. I go so numb.
And it's about embracing that, and we could talk about that another time. And I do wear a wetsuit for longer swims now. I've only worn it about 7 times, but I haven't had it for long. So I'm just doing that, because then I can actually swim for about 40 minutes and not have hypothermia. So the detachment, though, I think is a really beautiful thing, because we're always so attached to outcomes and doing this and getting through the to-do list. And what I've found is the more we get out in nature and actually take that time, because so many of my clients, and I'm sure people that you want to work with and change that whole trajectory of the world, is the rushing and the always thinking there's not enough time.
Yes. Absolutely. And this is in the process of starting my new company, and having this new found awareness of you know, whether it be the universe or everything happens for a reason. I believe, you know, the universe spins in funny ways, and if you've got the right intention and your heart in the right place, then the universe will look after you and it will put things in your path, you know. And it's about having faith in that and really believing in the process. And when you do start to you know, you've start to just have stillness in nature, you start to see the patterns, you know, start to see the patterns of, oh, okay, well, everything's worked out for me so far. And okay, well, why don't I just start having, when you start, for me, what works is I start to, if I'm getting overwhelmed or everything's becoming a bit much for me, I stop and I'm like, all right, everything has always worked out somehow. What do I do? Right? Reset. So I go out to nature and I try and find that stillness. So for me, I like to meditate, but a lot of people, they struggle with it, right? So I try and put it in a different terminology where it's like, it's just switching off the brain. We're giving the brain a break because it's a lot of people that get wound up with work and their busy lives. Sometimes their brains are still going in their sleep, you know, like the worry and the overexertion and everything just starts to, you get on this roller coaster ride and it starts to take over. So it's about breaking that and really being able to just go, okay, this is all, there's something missing or in me, or it's all becoming a bit too much. What can I do for me? And, you know, there's lots of different techniques and things that you know, whether you go and talk to someone, that's always helpful. But sometimes people they go and get answers from people, you know, and that's where it's like, okay, but no one's going to fill that gap, or no one's going to solve all my problems but me. So that's where, you know, going and having that silence, switching off the brain, just listening to sounds of nature, right? The waves, trees, birds, anything like that, and just sitting there with nothing for a while, you know. And I started by just having gratitude, so going and thinking, what am I grateful for in my life? And then you start, the trouble things start to disappear and get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you start to build yourself back up again, you know. And then there's other little tricks, like, you know, you're going on a walk and listening to a positive podcast or something like that for inspiration to start rewiring the brain. So that's what I've dove so deeply in on my journey of developing adventure in nature. You know, I've got to lead by example when I'm trying to reconnect people and show the science behind the positive effects on nature and mental health and well-being, as well as you know, all the other positive effects that come along with it. So yeah, it makes you feel alive. You know, sometimes we become so serious in our lives that we forget to go and have fun, you know. And sometimes just jumping in the ocean, it snaps you out of it, like it really does. So it's just having these little techniques and things, like to have noted somewhere, you know, on your office, on your computer, and have little techniques to say, all right, if I'm starting to get overwhelmed, how can I reset? So go for a swim, go for a walk, go and have stillness, you know. Like there's yeah, just I could keep going, but yeah, it's the really living again, like feeling alive by going out and having new experiences. For me, because every time you go out on an adventure, for me, that's just a new experience, right? So that's the neurons firing in your brain, and then that's what it's a part of the reset. So
yeah, reconnecting those neurons is incredible. Oh, and now I've just got a phone call coming in, so that's just trying to get back to the yeah, so back to what you were saying about the stillness and the gratitude and the being grateful rather than having to, we're still the brain, but then people are like, oh, but if I don't have anything to do, what am I going to do? But just being grateful for, and looking at nature and its incredibleness. If it's not the ocean, it might be even the backyard, like not having to have too much time. So like you say, you can go for a walk, you can go to the ocean, you can go into the forest or to the park, but even just in your backyard.
Looking at the sky, you know, like sometimes, I know this is a little bit random, but I'm outside, I look at the sky and I'm like, it's really blue today. And I just sit there and I admire it. And I'm like, is it usually this blue? You know, and I just sit there for a little while. So it's like, oh, maybe I just haven't looked at it for a little while. But I think when you go back to having, it can come in many forms. As I said, look at a flower. Look at the beauty of a flower. And my mum, when I was growing up, she always used to say, go and smell the flowers. I was like, oh, Mum, what do you mean? Like, come on. And now it's like, it's literally go and smell the flowers. Embrace the smell and the beauty of nature. You know, it's so simple.
Engaging the senses even more than just sight, and then noticing the air on your skin and that smell too. And I stop and smell the roses is like, how long's that phrase been around?
I know.
And how many people go for a walk and smell the roses along the way? Well, I do, and I always feel a bit weird, but I don't care. It's really rewarding, and they're just, you know, it's beautiful. Well, I lived somewhere for 9 years that didn't have roses, so I find them even more amazing now. But actually just taking the time takes you 5 seconds.
Oh, absolutely. And my mum found it hilarious when we went for a walk. I was back when I think I was 18 or something, and I actually stopped and I just was looking at a flower, and I sniffed the flowers, just looking at it for ages. She's like, oh, you're finally taking my advice. Like, yes, you actually do talk sense.
I have a similar flower story from my mum, and we always used to go camping, and she'd be trying to spot although she was always spotting the flowers to identify them, so there was a little bit of attachment there. So now it's just more just looking at and just admiring the beauty. You know, you can see so much beauty and color, and how many colors can you see? And that's another one, like the colors of green. Just go out, and how many green colors are there?
Oh my gosh, I know that. So that's what I became obsessed with when I was traveling around Australia, living out of a boat, fishing and diving, and I just became obsessed with the patterns of the fish. And you know, now, because I don't get to go out fishing as much as I'd like, but I go and look at the flowers and I'm like, it's just the same. You know, this is just art. It's absolutely stunning, and we just take it for granted. You know, a lot of the time we get carried away with other things and materialistic things in our life that we're so attached to, and we're so highly, you know, highly focused on achieving things. We just sort of forget to let go and just reset and appreciate the beauty of nature.
Yeah. And quite beautiful that you said let go, like letting go. It's a full moon, and that's a beautiful time to let go of things that aren't serving you and that busy craziness that we can all live. So lovely that you used those words, and that was a mantra that the yoga teacher used just before I came on this morning. So just letting go, and then letting all your problems just disappear into nature, because they can cope with it. You don't need it anymore. And I just have that sort of imagining that it's just going, you just let it, and it's just sort of shattering on the ground, and you can leave it behind, especially at the ocean or near water. For me, not everyone's a water lover.
That's it. And so, you know, what I found along this journey as well, it's the same process, more or less, you know, about having that that letting go, more or less having detachment and just setting things free, you know. So it's we first have to acknowledge that, okay, well, what's not right in my life? What am I not happy about? What's stressing me out? And then whether you write them down or you look at them and you just sort of have that awareness first, to then be able to go, right, well, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to keep going the same way and letting it build up and get to me, or am I going to try and work out a way to let it go and have detachment? And that way for me is definitely like, you know, you having what I sort of did to start with, what I sort of told myself is, if this is on the extreme, but it really snapped me out of you know, having external things coming in and affecting me and my emotions. So we get incomings on the daily, right, that affect us, and it's like, well, how can I not take it on board, and whether this be on the incomings of your daily life or your bigger picture things in life, like, you know, even you know, family, work, anything. I like to follow the Buddhist philosophy, and they, you know, I picked this up one day at one of the talks, and it said, if you lost everything in life, you know, it's quite possible, you know, people do it happens. If you lost everything, your house, your family, you know, all of your belongings and everything in life, what are you left with? You're left with yourself, your mind, and the beauty of nature. And that's, you know, that's when we start to have that realization that, you know, if everything was lost, what will keep me whole? What will keep me strong? And what will keep me fighting? And that's when I really had the turn to appreciate the beauty of nature and breathing. You know, what keeps us alive? Our breath. So I'm the first one to admit, like, I struggle sometimes when I'm working. I hold my breath, and I become short of breath, and that's for me a first sign of, right, I need to go outside and have a break. You know, but I think like now having that detachment to all things, to all beings, you know, you still love, you still cherish, but you know they're not yours. You don't own anything entirely, because it could, you know, it could be gone. So be grateful for having everything in your life now, for, you know, the things that bring you joy and happiness and that you're striving for, because if you're not having fun along the way, what's the point? That's what I think.
Yeah, totally agree, and think that we absolutely need more fun in our lives, and that's what I advocate as well. And some people just forget about that and think, oh, I feel really crappy, I'm just going to go shopping and get some new clothes, and instead go to the beach, go to the bush, go to that.
The vices, that's it. Alcohol, drug, shopping, you know, you name it. That is a common thing for people to turn to, and that's another big one that, you know, I gave up alcohol, and because I started using that as a vice, it was sort of like, oh, you know, like stress or anything. I was turning to just, at the end of the week I'll have a glass of wine and I'll just relax and feel better. Now I go and I do an hour meditation, or I go and reconnect to nature. And that's it's given me bliss. Literally, it gives me bliss. And I don't need anything, you know, anything external now to bring me that peace and that happiness, which it's a powerful thing when you can go it, but it takes effort. You know, that's the thing. It really takes time and effort, commitment every day. But it's possible, and if more people knew how good it felt, oh my God, like,
yes, if we could sell it, how cool would it be?
Oh my God.
And this is the thing, we forget about the things that are just there and they're free and they're accessible. So the three things that you've alluded to and that I've taken from this, and I hope that we can, or everyone else can take this away too, is that nature is there, it's free and it's amazing. Same as self-pleasure, which I love to talk about as well. Like we have these tools that are free and we don't, and bring us ecstasy and joy and amazingness. And also that going within that inner knowing that you alluded to, we can go and we can do talk therapy. And yes, I totally think that that's a thing that's worked, you know, it's been amazing for me as well.
Yeah,
but also knowing that we have the answers within us, we have the inner knowing, and we find that through stillness and through nature and through taking time for ourselves, which is where self-pleasure comes in as well. And I bet you didn't know you were up for that part of the conversation, but we won't dive into that one now because we haven't got time. But those things are all, it just made me think about all the things that we forget about, that we have access to every single day. And even in lockdown, you know, there are people that have had terrible experiences and might be in an apartment and nature, it's pretty tough.
Yeah,
you can still hug a plant every day, like a pot plant, or this.
Yeah, well, that I actually, it's funny because I just did a post. I'm just trying to find it. I did one just last night actually, and it says, so this was my adventure in nature. I'm doing like a nature fix post kind of thing, you know, like go out to connect with nature and then get your fix and then you feel better. And it says, studies have shown that being in nature, living near nature, or even viewing nature in paintings and videos can have positive impacts on our brains, bodies, feelings, thought processes, and social interactions. In particular, being in nature seems to be inherently rewarding, producing a cascade of positive emotions and calming our nervous system. These in turn help us to cultivate greater openness, creativity, connection, generosity, and resilience.
More goosebumps. So beautiful. And what a beautiful way to finish our conversation. And you've just given us a beautiful quote. Do you have any other parting words? And then if you can share how people can find you, and I think you and when your business is launching.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Other parting words, just find that stillness in the sounds of nature for a start, you know, just to get you started, and observing the beauty of it. That really that taking that time out for yourself to do that, away from everyone. But yeah, there's so many things like I tell my friends and I get them on their journey to, you know, reconnect and, you know, help find themselves and their purpose. And I love that. That's what I'm passionate about, is helping people on that journey. And I really hope that my company, Adventure in Nature, is going to be able to assist more people to do that. It's going to be, it's a platform which will be making adventures in nature more easy and accessible for people to plan and go on fun adventures and experiences. So yeah, you can find me on my social media. Instagram is my main one, which is Jade, Jade _ Suzanne, SUZANNE. And then that's also on Facebook as well, but I will be changing things around a little bit as I start to build up. Adventure in Nature will be launching hopefully at the start of January 2022, fingers crossed. So yeah, I've also got the Adventure in Nature Instagram, which is adventure.n, not in, just n.nature. I haven't got the in yet, but I'm going to get that soon, hopefully. It was already taken. But so follow my journey on socials in the lead up to hopefully being able to launch soon and be able to get everyone outdoors and experiencing nature.
Beautiful. Well, hopefully after listening to this conversation, people will be scheduling it into their calendar and making the time to do it. And it is a massive game changer. So thanks so much for saying yes and coping with the tech dramas that we have.
Gosh, no, all good. Absolutely fine. I think you're going to need to go and have a look at the flowers now.
Yeah, absolutely. I am I'm meeting a friend to talk about video marketing later, and I'm going to walk there. So we'll just be smelling the roses along the way for sure.
Every rose.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a reminder to leave a bit earlier. So thanks again, and thanks too for watching. And yeah, really appreciate it. And if you are watching this and you'd like to comment and ask any questions, or just let us know and hit #replay.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love what you're doing. It's absolutely amazing. And everyone that is following you is very, very lucky to have you guiding them.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much.